everybody! Welcome to episode 5 of Alayna Bakes. It's been a minute. Today we're doing something a little bit different in the kitchen. First of all, you can see this is a new angle. Same kitchen, same size of a postage stamp, but today I flipped it around so I'm coming at you from a different angle. I'm going to not be making a new recipe, but I'm going to be showing you one of my favorite recipes, how I make my chocolate cake. It's a classic. In fact, it's called Francine's Fave because it's chocolate cake with chocolate icing, my mom's all-time favorite flavor. Francine Sweets is of course named after my mom. I'll explain that in a little bit, but let's get going. Our first thing that we do is about half hour ago, I took out some of the ingredients that I needed to be at room temperature. So these are eggs, buttermilk, and sour cream. And it just makes it a little bit easier to stir into the mix and allows the cake to come out a little bit more moist and just overall better. So the first thing is I'm gonna mix all my dry ingredients. I have my handy dandy scale. That's what we're using today. Also, did I have another extra cup of coffee on an empty stomach? So now I am buzzing. Yes. So who knows? If you can't understand anything I'm saying because I'm talking too fast, I'm sorry, I blame Lion Street Cafe. First of all, we need 220 grams of all-purpose flour. We got a little too much, so we just take it out. All right, perfect. We're gonna need 65 grams of cocoa powder. So I'm gonna throw that in there. All right, 350 grams of sugar. Now, maybe you don't know the story behind Francine's Sweets. Now, I mentioned that it was named after my mom. No, my mom's name is not Francine, but in fact, when I was a kid, I was a big fan of the show Arthur. We didn't have cable, so PBS was the place to be. And Arthur, he's an aardvark, but his friend's name is Francine Frensky. And so I think that's kind of where I got it from. But anyways, when I was a kid, my mom taught me how to bake. I loved pretending that I was in the kitchen on a cooking show, and I would pretend I would have a live studio audience, so I would narrate what I was doing, kind of like I am now, in front of nobody. Learned that at a young age to talk to myself. Thank you, Mom and Dad. My mom would be my handy dandy sous chef, and I called her Francine. Why? Probably because of Arthur. I don't know. But as a tribute to my mom, Francine Sweets, she taught me how to bake, and we had a lot of fun in the kitchen together. So that is where the name is from. Right now we're gonna add in our baking soda and baking powder. This stuff right here, 1 and 2, and 1 of baking powder, and then 1 of salt. Okay, got all that stuff in there. That's all my dry ingredients. That top does not go on that bottle. And we're gonna mix it up. I picked a bowl that is too small, so I'm gonna have to end up changing that out, I think, eventually, but we'll get there. I'm gonna do it now. See ya. Okay, we are back. So this is gonna make a 3-layer cake. I'm gonna use 3 8-inch round pans, and we're going to fill it with chocolate frosting and top it with a chocolate ganache. So that's what's coming up. If you're a chocolate fan, you're gonna love this cake. Even if you're not a chocolate fan, too bad. Now, in a separate bowl, I'm going to add my wet ingredients. Oil, 120 milliliters. 2 large eggs, these have been at room temperature. So we're gonna give it a crack in here. We need 180 grams. So let's plop that on in there. Now, we need 120 milliliters of buttermilk. Make sure you shake it up before you use it and make sure that it's at room temperature. What's nice about this recipe is it's really fast. I think a lot of people get scared away by like homemade cake recipes because they can end up really dry or they take a long time. This is a fast and easy recipe. Only needs 2 bowls to use, so less, dishes. Oh, I also need vanilla, 2 teaspoons. So we got 1 and we got 2. We're gonna whisk this up. We're gonna pour the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. So it's good to put the dry ingredients in the bigger bowl of the 2. So you got a little bit more space. Really been working on my biceps. So I'm hoping that's translating through the screen. Just the speed that we're whipping here. And we're gonna add this on into our wet ingredients. This is now where I switch to a spatula. For today's spatula, well, it's Valentine's season. Obviously, it's July 1st. Hey, love is always in the air. Okay, we're done with you. Again, just fast, just easy, just zipping along. You don't have time, you do. Okay, rethink your life if you think you don't have time to make a homemade chocolate cake, because I'm here to tell you you're wrong. And you do have time. Whoa! I also had time to just get all of that all over my foot. We are moving at a hamster speed, hamster on a wheel. And we want to mix it until it's almost combined. But then right before it's fully combined, there's 2 things more we're gonna add. This is not in the original recipe, but I love adding chocolate chips. This adds a really good texture. I love when there's different textures within cake. I think that's a reason why some people don't like cake. It's a very one-dimensional texture of like the soft cake, the soft frosting. Not this one, people, not today. Instead, we're adding, I don't know, a half a cup of chocolate chips. I'm feeling kind of zany, so I think I'm gonna put in 3/4 of a cup. I'm feeling like living on the edge. Now, the last part of this that we're gonna add is a half a cup of hot water. I've seen, oh man, I'm like stepping in hot cocoa. Just a second. We're back. I'm gonna let my water warm up. Now, it's funny because I usually have very hot water. See back maybe episode 3 of when I almost burned myself on my own faucet. It's summer. I don't know how this works. Maybe plumbers, comment below. But the water doesn't get as hot in the summer. What's up with that? Okay, I pay too much money in rent to not have hot water. Well, we're pretty hot now. Okay, we're just gonna pour a half a cup of hot water in there, and then we're gonna give that one final stir, and then we're good. That's it. And then we're gonna put it into our cake pans, and then it's into the oven. Now you don't wanna over mix it. It will be a little liquidy. That's good. I'm going to pull out my pans. Now I already prepared my cake pans. So I've got 3 right here, 3 8-inch pans. So I line the bottom with parchment paper, then I wipe it all over with shortening, and then I put flour in it to really coat it. This is just a method that I use. I've seen people spray pans with Pam. I personally do not trust that method, and I find, besides heights, one of the most terrifying things is when a cake sticks in a pan and you can't get it out. So if you're willing to take that risk, go for it. I'm not gonna support you in that. We've got 3 pans, and I'm going to split my batter, into each pan. Oh boy. Well, this is another reason I love the scale, is because you can really, if you weigh each pan, you're gonna see exactly how much batter you have in each pan, which leads to just even baking, which is better for the overall timing and just the overall look. You want each of your cakes to be the same size generally. And I'm gonna grab my scale. Man, what if I wasn't recording this whole time? I would be real mad. All right, we're good to go. That was it. I've had my oven preheating at 350 degrees. I'm gonna bake it for about 25 minutes, and then I'll check back with you when we're done. Hello, everybody. We are back. Now, it's day 2 of our cake baking process. I realized last night that I recorded this vertically instead of horizontally, so that's show business, baby. It happens. So today we're gonna decorate our cake. I'm gonna show you my process. Oh yeah, now we're in the frame. Well, I have my cakes here, and I have my frosting, and then I also have a chocolate ganache that I whipped up. Ganache is super easy. It's a really fancy word for chocolate chips melted with heavy whipping cream. That's it. When you're decorating a cake, you don't need anything fancy. In fact, I only use 3 tools. I use an offset spatula, a regular spatula, a cake scraper. This cake scraper is from the dollar store. Don't spend a lot of money getting a fancy one. You do not need it. But this will help you smooth your sides too. The first thing I like to do is just put a little bit, well, actually, before we start, I do like using a turntable. Makes frosting a cake super easy. Already, I have 2 cake plates. So I have this bottom one, which is bigger than the actual cake, and then this one, which is an 8-inch, the size of the cake. This makes moving the cake around much easier. And I have, definitely are some people watching. Got some new neighbors. I have used painter's tape, and I tape these all together so that everything stays. I am going to take a little bit of frosting and I just spread it right on the top to act as the glue. I will say today I am feeling less caffeinated, which is probably more preferred by everybody in this audience. I'm gonna spread a thin layer of chocolate frosting on here using my offset spatula. I spread it all the way out to the sides. It's okay if it goes over the sides because we're going to put frosting on the outside anyway. But I'm just gonna do a thin layer, and that is because I'm going to add some of this ganache to the middle. So I'm gonna put just a little bit in here. And what I also like to do is pipe what you call a frosting dam around the outside edge. That just helps keep the ganache in the cake. So I put a little bit in a piping bag. I've already fitted it with this tip. I like to use the 1M Wilton tip. Gives you like a nice like edge, star edge. So I just go all the way around. That just acts to keep in the ganache a little bit better. So I'll just smooth that out. Your cake layer is gonna go on top of this, so it does not need to be perfect at all. So my first part is done. And I'll do the same thing, just a thin layer of frosting just to coat the top of it. That's all I want. I'm going to add a little frosting dam around the outside edge, add my ganache. Now there are a lot of different options you could do. I'm just making a chocolate cake. You could crush up Oreos, put them in the center. You could crush up your favorite candy like a Reese's bar or a Twix or something like that and put that in there just to add a little bit of texture. But today we're just gonna do the good old fashioned chocolate with chocolate. Final layer is going on top. Now we're ready to frost the top. So I'm gonna add a bunch more frosting right onto the top of the cake. As I spread the frosting around, I'm gonna push it off the edges so that it goes over the edge because we need to frost the whole thing. Now right now it's totally fine if you can see the cake through the frosting. That's fine. So I just brush the edge. Now I like to use this side, and I put some frosting on the side using my offset spatula, and then I just frost around the edges. If you come to a place where there's like a gap like that, where the cake layer is not totally even with the other one underneath it, just take a little frosting and just fill that gap in right there and smooth it out with your knife. Of course, I'm not gonna stop like this. Like this doesn't look very well done. So that's where my cake scraper comes in. So I take the edge of the scraper and I place it at a 45-degree angle against the cake. I like to put my left hand very near to where I'm gonna start with my cake scraper. This is why a rotating pan is really good. And you're gonna rotate around as you apply light pressure to the cake. There we go. So you can see that there are some spaces where you can see the cake. I think I might actually be fine with that. I kind of like the way that that looks. That's what I love about cake decorating, is it really is a creative outlet because you get to make something beautiful that looks good but also tastes good. So I added more frosting. I'm gonna do the same thing. I take my left hand, I put it close to where I start the cake scraper, applying light pressure at a 45-degree angle, spin my turntable all the way around until I reach the other edge. You could keep going crazy with the cake scraper, but you do have to get to a point where you just have to stop. And there's always what I call a back of the cake, a side of the cake that isn't as good as the rest. That goes in the back, so nobody sees it. Totally fine. So I've gotten the sides. Now I want to add a little bit more to the top. So I want the top layer to have a little bit more frosting. So I'm going to add some more on the top, and I just smooth that around. I'm holding my offset spatula in the same spot and just twisting my cake plate around. Then when I'm good with the top, I'm gonna take my cake scraper and just go right along lightly the edge. So I just take the edge and smooth it forward. The next thing that I'm gonna do is the ganache strip. I like to use a piping bag. So I take my piping bag, open it up, I simply pour my ganache into the piping bag. This is what I think is the easiest to do. I cut off the edge with some scissors and then I just pipe it on there. Just pipe a little bit. Yep. Just going around. The more pressure you put on, the longer the drip is gonna be. I like to vary it up. All right, so my drip is all done. I'm gonna take the rest of the ganache and I'm gonna put it right on the top, getting it all out to the sides. Just like that. Now, one final little piece. I'm gonna add some dimension. So I'm just gonna do a circle around. I would start with 4, like the north, south, east, and west points. Now I'm gonna go on the inside here. Okay, there is my cake. That is it. I have finished up my chocolate cake. So you can see there's just kind of some ganache that's dripped and some frosting. So all you need is a paper towel. I just wipe off any excess here. My cake is done, it's completed. I'm gonna take it up off of this round. I'm gonna put it into a box. That is it, we have finished our chocolate cake. Thanks for joining me today on episode 5 of Alayna Bakes. Comment below, what do you wanna see me make next? If you are a chocolate lover, this is the cake for you. Comment, like, subscribe, swipe up, whatever you gotta do, tell your friends, your neighbors, your cats, your mailman, whatever, and I'll catch you on the next video.